United States, the elderly are often besieged on every side by religious cults that are looking for new recruits to fill their coffers with donations. Nationwide, cults are obeying the cardinal rule of all confidence games. Follow the money, wrote Modern Maturity magazine. In exchange, they are offering everything from health to political change to the kingdom of heaven.
What do Jehovah's Witnesses offer to those that they preach to, and what do they offer to those who are obedient and are ultimately convinced to join?
Everything from health to political change to the kingdom of heaven. One cult deprogrammer was quoted as saying, "The elderly are a cult's bread and butter." So that sounded kind of vague to me, one cult deprogrammer. So I looked him up. His name is Rick Allen Ross. I found the quote on Cult Education Institute's website, which, by the way, had a few things to say about Jehovah's Witnesses. And it turns out Rick Ross has some things to say about Jehovah's Witnesses as well.
Rick Ross thinks that Jehovah's Witnesses are one of the most dangerous cults in America for their stance on blood transfusions and how, at the cost of human lives, women, children, anybody who needs a blood transfusion will die. And for allowing that makes them a dangerous cult.
He's even tweeted about Jehovah's Witnesses. So they criticize other religions for going after the money and following after the money. What do they do with the money they receive? From contributions, from donations,
and from the sale of properties.
Looking at 2019's grand totals, at the bottom it talks about what they spent caring for special pioneers, missionaries, and circuit overseers, but it doesn't say how much they've earned. They don't publicize how much they earn from donations. So it has to be kind of a rough guess.
There was a letter read from the governing body stating that they wanted to pass a resolution that every publisher donate a certain amount every month in order to fund Kingdom Hall projects and the worldwide work. And the number they came up with was like $11 in our congregation. Even though they don't tithe, being asked to give a specific amount minimum every month kind of fell into that same kind of category. And we started to crunch the numbers, and in 2019 there's 8.6 million peak publishers. And if you multiply 8.6, I mean there's more than that, but let's just round it down a little bit. That's $94 million, $94,600,000 a month.
94 million?
A month.
$11 times what?
Times 8.6 million publishers. And if you times that by 12 months, that is
1 billion.
1,135,209.
And they spent, bless their hearts, $224 million caring for the special pioneers, missionaries, and circuit overseers. And mind you, that's only a rough estimate, because that would be like if everybody gave $11. But also consider that they do get donations from people at the door And some of it is more of a lump sum out of people's salaries, and children who aren't baptized are giving, people who aren't baptized, who aren't considered a publisher, are giving donations as well. So
right, and
be
then
it
you
a rough estimate, it's pretty accurate.
You have an offset of, people in other countries, third world countries, when you consider the offset, because they constantly are always saying at their meetings and conventions that there should be a balancing of the wealth, basically, from more affluent countries to offset the deficiency of the poorer ones. Help support people in poorer countries who can't afford to have kingdom halls. So we're going to take the money from more affluent countries and use it to build kingdom halls in third world countries. At one point, when they were doing the construction of the New World headquarters in Warwick, and they were selling off all of their properties in and around New York City, I think I totaled it up, and it was almost $2 billion that they were going to get from the sale of those properties. And when you combine all of this money that they're going to get, there's a pretty huge discrepancy between what they're spending on special pioneers and missionaries and circuit overseers versus how much they're bringing in. It kind of made me a little bit sick, because every single meeting they're always like, give us more, make your voluntary contributions. If they're making that much money off of all their publishers, why do they need more and more and more? And where is the rest of it going? They're making literally hundreds of millions of dollars a year, all tax-free, because they have tax-exempt status as a religion.
They're at risk of losing tax-exempt status in Australia.
The Royal Commission, the apology, and these yearly reports are about accountability, bringing the truth into the light. So I'm reporting that on 1 July this year, 6 institutions were named as having failed to declare their intention to join the scheme. Since then, 2 of these have joined. We still have, reprehensibly, 4 institutions who have been named publicly and who have blatantly refused to join the redress scheme. They are Jehovah's Witnesses, Kenja Communication. It's not acceptable. We are currently finalising the further sanctions, I know, that are supported by the opposition, that the Commonwealth will place on institutions who continue to refuse to join the scheme, including withdrawal of their charitable status for these offending organisations.
So if you just start with step 1, follow the money, it's pretty apparent that they are getting rich off of the people that they are asking to join them.
So, are Jehovah's Witnesses a cult? No, Jehovah's Witnesses are not a cult, they say.
Far from being a dangerous cult, Jehovah's Witnesses practice a religion that benefits themselves and others in the community. For example, our ministry has helped many people to overcome harmful addictions, and we are actively involved in disaster relief.
In these last days, disasters often strike without warning. Many of Jehovah's Witnesses make extra contributions so that their brothers in stricken areas can be helped. My husband and I would like to thank you very much for sending supplies for the relief effort for the damage incurred during the hurricanes. We were able to put a new roof on our house. We truly appreciate that you responded so quickly. My name is Connor and I'm 11. When I saw what happened when the tsunami hit, I wanted to help. I hope this will help my brothers and sisters. But in the Elders Handbook, under what to do during a disaster, first of all, you make sure everybody is safe. And then you can distribute relief supplies, but it doesn't indicate where the relief supplies came from. It doesn't say whether it was Red Cross or people in the community nearby or the Jehovah's Witnesses.
The 4th point that they say is help publishers determine if they qualify to apply for government aid.
So you're not even getting aid from the Jehovah's Witnesses themselves. You're supposed to apply for government aid first.
First and foremost.
And then point 5, help the LDC to determine which publishers qualify for reconstruction assistance from the organization based on direction from the branch office. Who says if you qualify to have your house rebuilt after a disaster And if that qualification falls under using the funds from the donations
that you put in.
Who makes that decision is the branch office where the governing body reside, and basically the head honchos get to make that decision whether or not you qualify. If a disaster occurs in another area, elders can remind the publishers of the following points. We should remember our brothers and sisters in our prayers, because that's really going to help when your house is in shatters. Those desiring to provide monetary assistance may donate to the worldwide work. In this way, the organization can help to care for the needs of any in the worldwide brotherhood. So, if in your neighboring state, your neighboring town, you know your friends are over there whose house has been destroyed by a tornado or a hurricane, you're not supposed to give them the money. You're supposed to give it to the worldwide work, and they'll decide whether or not those people are worthy of it.
Yeah. Also, that kind of ties in with point 3. Materials and supplies should not be sent to the disaster area. That's also like if my friend was in a situation that needed help, I'm not able to help them even though I have the ability to.
We can't send diapers and clothes and water and food.
It seems kind of counterintuitive to a loving Christian organization.